my royal brother and I was sent to the Oasi country at the same time to get married. The royal brother chose the charming and beautiful princess of the Fox clan as his wife. I was forced to choose the ugly-looking Butte princess, the bat, but the white fox later failed to cross the tribulation and died tragically. I chose successfully transformed into a vampire. He even wants to convert me into a vampire and gain immortality. The emperor's brother lost the protection of the Fox clan, became the king of other Oasis, so he, who was jealous of me, took advantage of me when I wasn't prepared. Pierced my chest. I'm opening my eyes back to the day when our father asked us to choose a marriage partner. This time, the emperor changed his mind, choosing the ugly bat first as a sign of goodwill. I will be the one who gets eternal life this time, he proudly shouted Wenyan in my ear. Then I knew he was reborn too. Father's sword is coming quickly. The arrogant royal brother. I chose the ugly Butte princess. Very surprised, then frowned and looked at him. 11. You have thought about it. Oasis need to sign a contract to get married. Once a decision is made, there is no possibility of changing it. When the emperor heard this, he nodded with determination. Father, I have thought about it. I want the princess of the Bart tribe. Seeing this, my father had no choice but to nod in agreement. For my opinion at all. Then he said to the envoy from the Oasi country, now that the two princes have been chosen, I'll ask you to send a message back. The envoy from the Oasi kingdom nodded. As for my choices and opinions, it's not important to them. The imperial brother, after the envoy from the Oasi kingdom left, he leaned into my ear and said proudly, now this chance for eternal life is mine. I pretended to look at him blankly, as if you don't know anything. Brother Juan, what are you talking about? When the emperor saw this, his expression became more and more proud. It's like I don't even know what I've lost. But he didn't notice the corners of my mouth rising slightly. My good brother, thank you very much. Help me escape from the sea of suffering, the blood leopard of the Bart tribe, whoever likes to be. Because the country of Oasis has flying birds and the news spread back to the Oasi country within half a day. 3 days later, Tiu Shanyu, the princess together of the Fox clan, Sufufu, the princess of the Butte tribe, came to Vietnam. Sufufu knew that the emperor's brother chose him on his own initiative. Very satisfied with him. In my previous life, he took me back to the Oasi country. The blood we just forged with me. But after seeing the emperor brother, he immediately flew onto the emperor's shoulder. Then he leaned towards his artery. The royal brother was so frightened that he wanted to swing Sufufu off his body. But at this moment, the envoy, Chen Sheng, reminded His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, this is the daughter of the third emperor who is conspiring with you. After the blood gas is successfully concluded, you are husband and wife. Hear what the envoy said. Brother Huan calmed down now. After a while, his eyes became a little intoxicated. It is said that the Fox tribe knows the art of enchantment, able to confuse people's minds. In fact, the Bat tribe also has a similar figure. When the Butte's teeth pierce the skin and start sucking blood, in order to reduce the pain of the person being sucked by blood, will inject a psychedelic substance into the human body, stimulant toxin. In this way, people sucked by the Bart tribe will unconsciously indulge in hallucinations. Over time, even addictive. Looking forward to the joy of being sucked by the Bart tribe. In my previous life, I was a descendant of the spiritual bloodline, therefore has a certain resistance to the toxins of the Bart tribe. When Sufufu sucked my blood, I'm not hallucinating. After Sufufu found out about this, he's even more interested in me, then started to move inside me, continuously injecting various toxins. That period of time, I was tortured to the point of death. Finally, Sufufu discovered not only can my blood resist his toxins, it can even improve his performance. From then on, Sufufu seems to have discovered a panacea. He regards me as a blood bag to improve his strength. Many times, I almost fainted and died because of his blood sucking. Sufufu couldn't bear to let me, a blood bag, die like this. So, I have found many geniuses who can stimulate my blood. In the eyes of the royal brother and outsiders, the treasure of the earth also became proof that Sufufu dotes on me. Almost all Oasis don't understand. Why does Sufufu like me so much? This body is weak, pale human being. But how do they know? Sufufu is just afraid that I will no longer produce enough blood for him. And the imperial brother does not have Lin clan blood in his body. So when he was sucked by Sufufu, naturally, I can't resist his toxins. After about a minute, Xu finally let go of the emperor brother Huang's neck. It left 2 very small holes. After the blood gas is completed, the way the royal brother looked at Xu, also full of fascination and joy. Father thought, Brother Huang is really satisfied with Xu and his wife. Then he looked at me and the fox princess Tu Shanyu with confidence. Tu Shanyu is huge, but it is undeniable. Although she is still a fox now, it looks quite noble and elegant. Behind the honeymoon, 8 foxtails are curled together beautifully. Then look at me and utter human words. The cold royal sister should carry an irresistible secret. Let me subconsciously walk towards him. The next moment, Tu Shanyu suddenly raised his claws, then revealed sharp claws, stabbed me in the heart. I know that the Fox clan has to spend their heart and soul to form a blood relationship, so I didn't dare to touch him. After a moment of heartache, Pushin Cross Country took a drop of blood from my chest, then moved very quickly. Make a good contract with me. After the blood gas is successfully concluded, the envoys are all relaxed in their view. Just a weak human being. He is not worthy of the powerful and fierce Oasis, but the royal blood of the 10 kingdoms is special for Oasis who are prone to mental mania. Has an excellent soothing effect. Otherwise, once the Oasis go crazy, they will enter a state of madness. Not far from death. Heaven is fair. Gave the Oasis a strong body, but it also puts the shackles of mental fragility on them. After the 2 princesses successfully concluded the bloodstain, prepare to return home. On the way back to the Oasi country, Tu Shanyu and I shared a car. The imperial brother was riding in the same car with Xu. Oasis are very possessive of their partners. Don't let others get involved. Close to our car, no servants are allowed in, due to the huge size of Tushan Mountain. So the carriage we rode in was very spacious inside. I thought the Fox tribe were all cold-tempered beings. Unexpectedly, Tu Shanyu was an exception. Not only does she let me comb her soft hair, also when I'm hungry, take the initiative to run to the forest to hunt for me. Although every time he comes back, he is covered in blood. Looks very cruel. But I know he is actually very good to me. And the carriage where Shiyi and Xu were located, completely different. There were strange sounds from time to time along the way. I know that was when Brother Huang was sucked by Xu. I can't control the feeling of extreme happiness. Sound. In my previous life, because of the spirit blood in my body, when resisting being sucked by Xu, effects of injected toxins. But the royal brother does not have such resistance to toxicity. Nature cannot resist. Xu. It is said that being sucked by the bat tribe can be regarded as reaching the peak of bliss. Obviously, the emperor has fallen in love now. The feeling of being sucked by Xu. After, maybe he would even take the initiative to pull open his collar, begging Xu to suck his blood. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but sneer in my heart. 7 days later, the convoy entered the territory of the Oasi country. An Oasi with the head of a human and the body of a bird is at the establishment of Chao Tu Shanyu. Let us enter the city. Tu Shanyu is stabbing me on the back. Heard this. The Oasis around them all cast surprised looks. The imperial brother also looked at Tu Shanyu in disbelief. Wu clan has always been proud. Generally, you won't let others ride on your back easily. And it hasn't been long since I became flesh and blood with Tu Shanyu. He was actually allowed to get on his back. Under the shocked eyes of everyone, I quickly came to my senses. Then I climbed up to Shanyu with great difficulty and stood up, with a back nearly 2 meters high. Hold on tight, Tu Shanyu. This reminds me. He quickly reached out and grabbed the hair on his neck. The next moment, Tu Shanyu jumped up. He took me steadily and jumped into the city. The muscular royal brother stared at me with a twisted expression. He didn't expect that Tu Shanyu would allow me to fuck him. This was a treatment he didn't have at all in his previous life. At this time, Xu also said calmly to the emperor brother, "Let's go too." Less than half an hour, I was taken back to his mansion by Tu Shanyu. After entering the princess's residence, Wu Shanyu said to me, "You go back home first and have a good rest. I'll take you to see the queen tomorrow. Let's go back to Chinku Mountain." I nodded and agreed. Being bound by human nature's dislike so when the princesses grow up, generally, they will not stay in the royal city. Instead, they usually live in their respective caps. As for which princess is qualified to inherit the throne, being respected by others depends on one's strength. So who can compete in the arena? Show your absolute strength. Oasi casual soda. After the Soothe suit in the previous life transformed into a blood-sucking machine, it can suck out most of the opponent's blood essence. You can also rely on blood-sucking to quickly restore your strength. That's why we can defeat other princesses. For the Queen's heir. But before he transformed, no one expected that this princess of the Bart tribe. He is actually the biggest dark horse, and Tiu Shanyu, who is favored by everyone. On the contrary, he didn't even succeed in transforming. The next day, I was accompanied by Tiu Shanyu, went to meet the queen of the Oasi kingdom. It is said that the queen's body is a white wolf. Therefore, the Fox tribe in South Africa gave birth to a child whose body was as white as jade, who was born with 3 tails. Dote on him extraordinarily. The 5th patriarch also had feelings for this pure-blooded princess. I wholeheartedly hope that Tiu Shanyu can cultivate the 9 tails. Because of the 9-tailed fox, he is the most powerful being in their fox clan. The queen was not very satisfied when she saw how thin and weak I looked. But he also knows that the blood of Corpse Kingdom is special. It has a very good soothing effect on the mental power of Oasi. Therefore, the queen reluctantly nodded to me. Since you have relieved yourself of your anger, let's comfort her mentally in the future. Then he went towards the Tushan moon. To the moon. Have you ever experienced mental mania again recently? Don't worry that Tiu Shanyu will return to his mother soon. I feel good now. He glanced at me as he spoke. I can't help but feel moved in my heart. Tiu Shanyu has already experienced symptoms of mania. Although I don't know much about the situation of the Oasis, but also know once the Oasis' mental power begins to have problems, then there's a good chance that it won't end well in the end. In his previous life, Tiu Shanyu failed to break through the 9 tails. Could it be related to this? But that doesn't mean crossing the royal bloodline. Does it have a soothing effect on the mental power of Oasi? The royal brother has already been with him. Wouldn't he ask the imperial brother to help him sort out his mental power? All kinds of thoughts flash in my mind. I couldn't help clenching my fists. I quickly figured out the reasons. The emperor's brother was already dissatisfied with Tiu Shanyu because of his immortality. Do not dare to approach if questioned. And Tiu Shanyu is the arrogant princess of the lake. Let him bow to his brother. That's almost impossible. So, even though Tiu Shanyu has signed a blood contract with the emperor's brother, but as proud as he is, it should be that he didn't force the emperor's brother to soothe his spirit. No wonder Tiu Shanyu died later. The royal brother is Tiu Shanyu's husband, but he became a toy for other Oasis to comfort themselves without the queen's permission. Even if it's for the sake of the Fox clan's face, there is no way that the emperor's brother would end up like that. I can only say that the queen may be the tea ceremony royal brother. The fact that he never comforted Tiu Shanyu at all. So get angry at him, if my guess is true. That imperial brother really deserved the fate he suffered in his previous life. But in this life, I will never let Tiu Shanyu make the same mistake again. And after Tiu Shanyu and I met the queen, the imperial brother also followed Soothe in. Soothe's father is the chief of the Bat tribe, although the Bat tribe's identity is not so lovable. But once this race takes on human form, but all of them are handsome, charming. Otherwise, even the queen would not be fascinated. She also gave birth to Soothe. But no matter how good-looking you are, it's still a matter of transformation. Before his transformation, was indeed not very good-looking. So the queen's attitude towards Soothe always lukewarm. In my previous life, Soothe and I went together to meet him. He just said, "I know." Then they beat us. And this time, the queen seems to have the same attitude towards Soothe and the emperor's brother. And I just left not long ago. I saw Soothe and the emperor brother coming out together. Look at the speed of this realm. You know, the queen didn't say anything to them at all. At this moment, Soothe suddenly spread her wings and stopped in front of us. Then the moon towards Mount Shaodu arrives. I'm going to bring you 11 times to cap it off. You must stay in the royal city with the royal husband. The faint echo of the moon on Mount Mardu. We are also going back to Chinku mountain today. I saw that the emperor valued him so much. I thought you would leave him in the royal city. Soothe said. I know what Soothe means. Most of the people living in the royal city are transformed Oasis, more lively and closer to the cities of Yu Kingdom. But in terms of fiefdom, not to mention the remote location, the tribesmen also like to live a more comfortable, animalistic life, not so friendly to humans. And Tiu Shanyu listened to Soothe's words, just grabbed my clothes suddenly. He threw me onto his back with a flick of his head. Still need to practice. It's inconvenient to stay in the royal city. He is my husband. Of course, where am I? He went to Shanyu, echoed, and then headed towards Sufufu to San Huangmi. I'll leave first. After that, he drove me away from the palace like lightning. Sufufu turned around and flew towards Brother Huang. Think about what the situation is like in the fiefdom of the Butte people. I couldn't help but shed tears of sympathy in my heart for Brother Huang. He thought I was favored by Sufufu. But don't know. In addition to being regarded as a blood bag by Sufufu, to me, the living environment of the Bat people, it's also quite fatal. The Bat people like to live in dark and deep caves. I won't talk about the Bat tribe who have not yet succeeded in their transformation. They all sleep upside down on the roof of the cave day and night. But the Bat people who have changed their profession are theirs. Everyone likes to sleep in coffins. Still afraid of the sun, God knows. I live in a cave where there is no sunlight all day long. I have to sleep in a coffin every day. How depressed I feel. I have thought about committing suicide countless times. But every time I take action, all blocked. Sufufu never gave me a chance to commit suicide. So in the previous life, when the royal brother wanted to stab me to death, I don't want to resist at all, because he died then. Death is not painful to me, but relief. I don't want to be transformed by Sufufu into a human being. Ghost or not, a monster that dies in the light of day. Eternal life that can only live in darkness for the rest of its life. Who cares? Who takes it? I don't want it anyway. After returning to Tiu Shanayu's mansion, I couldn't help but ask him, there's something wrong with your mental strength. Wu Shanayu's beautiful fox eyes looked at me with contempt. Nodded. Then I ordered my Oasis to pack my things. Getting ready to go to Chinku Mountain. Get a positive answer. My heart couldn't help but lift up. Then how can I help you soothe your mental energy? I don't know at all. How to calm Oasi's spirits? The only way to comfort me in my previous life is to combine with the Oasis. And this way of comforting, or is it because of the royal brother, becomes a plaything for the Oasis to soothe their spirits? I found out later, but Tiu Shanyu is still a fox now. Use that method to soothe his spirit. I'm even afraid that I won't be able to stand up. But what I didn't expect was, Tiu Shanyu actually said this to me. Just comb my hair. Hear his words. I couldn't help but be shocked, reacted immediately. No wonder I feel like Tiu Shanyu in this life. It's not the same as the Tiu Shanyu in my memory. Tiu Shanyu's temperament in her previous life seemed to be a bit irritable. Every time I come back from hunting, the prey was bitten miserably by it. On itself. And usually there's blood everywhere. That's why the Emperor thinks that Tiu Shan is more cold-blooded, brutal and terrifying. But Tiu Shanyu in this life, but it directly kills the prey, directly and accurately. And he also loves to be clean, always looking lazy. Now that I think about it, the reason why Tiu Shanyu is like this, it's because I took the initiative to comb his hair. It unexpectedly calmed his disordered mental energy. I couldn't help but secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Then he nodded towards Tiu Shanyu. I know, if you know other ways to comfort me, just tell me. No experience in calming Oasis. You have to tell me. Tiu Shanyu listened to my words, hesitated for a moment. I quickly asked what happened. After a while, Tiu Shanyu stared at me. The sound is a little uncomfortable and then painful. You can touch my head and belly. I was immediately overjoyed. Is that okay? Tiu Shanyu nodded. I immediately looked at his head eagerly. Wu Shanyu leaned down at this time. Bow your head to me. I quickly stroked his forehead. There is a pinch of fiery red on Wu Shanyu's forehead, hair similar to flame patterns. It is said that this appeared when he cultivated the 6 tails. I couldn't help but cautiously touch the fiery red hair. I found that Tiu Shanyu was not relieved. Then fuck him to your heart's content. And Tiu Shanyu's eyes. At this moment, he narrowed his eyes carefully. Seems to enjoy my touch very much. This makes me completely relieved. Wait until there are Oasis coming. When you say your luggage is ready. Wu Shanyu stood up reluctantly. Okay, it's time for us to leave for Chinku. Chinku Mountain is thousands of miles away from the royal city. But with the Oasi's foot strength and speed, it's only half a day to travel thousands of miles away. I waited until I found out that Tiu Shanyu would bring me back today. The Fox tribe on Chinku Mountain. They all greeted me outside the mountain gate early. When they saw me, they immediately gathered around me out of curiosity. You are the husband of the princess. Looks a bit thinner, but that's okay. When you get to Chinku, we'll help you gain weight. It was the leader of the Fox clan who looked at me with a smile. I politely thank you. I also like the warm atmosphere of the Fox clan. And it's all furry here. The environment in Chinku is as warm as ever all year round. Green mountains, green waters, and the fragrance of flowers is simply unknown to the Black Cave of the Bylot tribe. How much better is the Black Coffin? After settling down in Chinku Mountain, I will always be with Tu Shanyu. I'm afraid that he could barely break through the 9 tails like he did in his previous life. Have you felt mentally better recently? If you still feel uncomfortable, you must never hide anything from me. I heard that if the Oasis become mentally insane, they will be hopeless. You must tell me the truth. I worriedly told Tu Shanyu in my previous life. It was probably during this time. Failed to break through the 9 tails. Tu Shanyu died tragically in a thunderstorm. But at this moment, his tongue suddenly licked my face. I know Tu Shanyu can easily rub my head. My ears suddenly felt hot. My body couldn't help but make a noise. I thought, I won't have feelings for Tu Shanyu, who is in a state of torture. Did not expect. But my body slapped me in the face. So honestly. For a moment, I couldn't help but lower my head in embarrassment. Don't dare to look into Tu Shanyu's eyes. However, the sense of smell of Oasis is not comparable to humans. I only revealed a few flaws. Tu Shanyu caught the evidence. Husband, this is what you want? Wu Shanyu asked directly for the exit. I immediately blushed. I wish I could dig a crack in the ground and crawl. I know you Oasi speak plainly, but you don't have to be so straightforward. I don't want to lose face. But the next moment, my body suddenly vacated. I was held in Tu Shanyu's mouth. Then he took me into his cave. Then he lowered his head and arched my belly. Let's get started. That young man would be more respectful than obey his orders. The next day, I was woken up by thunder outside. As soon as I opened my eyes, I heard the deafening sound of thunder. I couldn't help but suddenly got up from the bed. Tu Shanyu's figure has long disappeared from his side. Don't wait until I go out to find him. Then an Oasi guard said to me, Your Highness, Princess, before leaving for the tribulation, let us watch you here. My expression changed when I said this. What did you say? Could it be said that overcoming the tribulation? Did I still fail to change? Tu Shanyu's ending clenched fists. I immediately got out of bed and rushed out to find Tu Shanyu. The Oasi guards quickly stopped him. Your Majesty, please stay. You can't help much if you go now. The Oasi's transformation strategy. No one can help. I shook my head. Even if it can't help, I also want to accompany him. The Oasi guards stopped stopping me now. And after I go out, I can only see the sky above Chinku Mountain, shrouded in huge black clouds. Thunder and lightning flash among the black clouds. Looks very scary. Suddenly, a huge thunder with a thick mesh snake down. My heart couldn't help but sink completely. Such a thick thunderbolt. Who the hell can handle it? And after this, thunder and lightning fell. The dark clouds in the sky soon dispersed. Reveal, bright sunshine. Tu Shanyu's thunder steps in. But did he survive it? No one knows now. Thinking of this, I rushed out of the cave. Crazy prayer in my heart to Tu Shanyu. You must be fine. See me running with all my legs on my legs, still running too slow. A tribesman from Tu Shanyu picked me up directly. Throw it on your back. Take me and run towards the place where I passed the tribulation. Half an hour later, we arrived at the place where Tushan Mountain passed the tribulation. At this time, in the clay soil everywhere, totally black. The extremely embarrassed Tu Shanyu. In my surprised eyes, earth-shaking changes have taken place.